What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. So I'm going to talk about Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford and how this situation with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury affect that fight. And pretty much, I think that we need to get set in our heads that we are not going to see Terence Crawford in the ring with Errol Spence Jr. any time soon. And I'm going to explain why. But before I do that, I want to welcome you back to the channel. Subscribers, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Now, as we all know by now, Tyson Fury ducked Deontay Wilder, and his mechanism for ducking Deontay Wilder was to sign with Top Rank and Bob Arum. In a article that came out of the World Boxing News today, Shelly Finkel gave some details into the collapse of that fight. And the details of it, again, man, I don't want to hear anybody talk about Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. and blame Errol Spence Jr. for not pursuing Terence Crawford. Because exactly what Errol Spence Jr. said about Bob Arum has come to fruition in the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight. This is what Shelly Finkel says. We were ready to do the rematch next, and obviously they weren't. It seems Top Rank didn't want Fury to fight Deontay next, and so we moved on. I've been speaking to Frank every day, but it seems the ESPN deal meant the fight wasn't going to happen. We were open to a co-promotion with ESPN to make the rematch. It also would have been a 2-fight deal, but I guess it's not the right time for them. They said they wanted to fight, and now they don't. We did receive an offer from Top Rank, which included a multi-fight deal with Deontay. The deal effectively meant signing Deontay over to them and included a purse for a fight before the Tyson Fury rematch. We didn't want to, and we're not going to give up our fighter to them. If we wanted to do a fight beforehand, we would do it ourselves. We didn't want to take a fight first. The fight was there for him, and he didn't take it. So when the public asked him in the future, how come you didn't take the fight? It's going to be hard for him to give an answer. Deontay will still fight in May, either in New York or Las Vegas, and his plans won't change. Okay? Now that is the situation, according to Shelly Finkel, for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Now, what does that have to do with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford? It's essentially the same scenario. You have a fighter that is signed to a multi-fight deal with ESPN. You have another independent guy in Errol Spence Jr. who signed with the PBC. In order to make the fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., Errol Spence is going to have to sign a multi-fight deal with Bob Arum in order to get that fight made. And as we see, there was in the case with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. is, I think, more difficult to make than Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Because Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury already had a deal done. They had already fought. They had already made, already did good numbers. They'd have already made a significant amount of money, right? And the fight is a proven commodity. Not that, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is a can't miss fight. But this fight was already there. Now, if you assume that, and I think it honestly, and the only weakness in my argument that I'll give you is that it's a big assumption that Tyson Fury didn't just straight duck out. And I don't think Terence Crawford is somebody that won't fight Errol Spence Jr. But Bob Arum ain't changing. Bob Arum is not going to take a significant risk on his best fighter. Tyson Fury, I think you will find in this situation with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, or the signing of Tyson Fury, might make it even harder, because I don't think Tyson Fury is going to do very well. I mean, as far as his numbers if you're looking at ESPN and American TV, I don't think Tyson Fury is going to do very well in those in the United States, especially on ESPN, because number one, he doesn't have any fan base in the United States. Now, I know there's ESPN, a version of ESPN over there in the UK, so maybe that might fly well for them. But my understanding is that he's going to be fighting in America, and Tyson Fury doesn't have a fan base in America. He doesn't, and he's not a very exciting fighter. Even for somebody that's kind of a stick and move kind of guy, he's not very exciting. There's only so much sticking your tongue out and sticking your hands behind your back that people are going to buy. It's hard for these guys. It's hard for those guys to get good numbers off of Vasyl Lomachenko. Regardless, though, Bob Arum is not going to want to make Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford unless Errol Spence Jr. signs himself over to ESPN, and then he has multiple fights on ESPN with top-ranked fighters, and then maybe you'll get the fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. Bob Arum is not somebody that makes a lot of good fights. That's not what he believes is effective. He's basically saying the same story that you hear out of Barry Hearn, Eddie Hearn's father, about how, the public really wants to fight now. The public really wants to fight now. But no, we're going to give it to him when the time is right, when the money makes the most sense. For Bob Arum, that's when the fight is almost dead. When there's nowhere else for these guys to go, and you can't continue to make money off that fighter time and time again. A promoter is trying to get as many fights out of his fighter as he can get. He's not interested in one payday and then walk away. He'd rather have 7 and 8 good paydays for himself before making one spectacular fight for the fans. And that's what Bob Arum's about. That's what these promoters are about. And that's why I'm telling you, man, like, the only way that we would have got Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. is if, in any time reasonable, is if Terence Crawford had not signed with Top Rank. If that had happened, then that fight could have happened instead of Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence. Also, with Terence Crawford, you're not going to get, even if for some reason Mikey Garcia were able to beat Errol Spence Jr., you're not going to get Mikey Garcia versus Terence Crawford either. I believe this also vindicates Mikey Garcia, because Mikey Garcia was saying, "Look, man, then we could wait around for 2 years trying to make a fight with Vasyl Lomachenko, waiting on Bob Arum." Right? Isn't that why? Because people were like, "Oh, Mikey Garcia is ducking Vasyl Lomachenko. Gervonta Davis is ducking Vasyl Lomachenko." Man, this right here shows you why shows you one major reason that people are not making fights with top-ranked fighters. What is Gervonta Davis supposed to do? Gervonta Davis supposed to sign a 3-fight deal with ESPN in order to fight Vasyl Lomachenko? Mikey's supposed to sign a 3-fight, 2-fight, 3-fight deal with Bob Arum to fight Vasyl Lomachenko. Errol Spence is supposed to sign a multi-fight deal to fight Terence Crawford. And Deontay Wilder is supposed to sign a multi-fight deal to get to put his belt on the line against Terence Crawford. When people on my conversation, in my videos, we were having this conversation about when Errol Spence Jr. said Bob Arum is smoke and mirrors. He's all smoke and mirrors. This is what he's talking about. Or this is what I've been talking about for a long time. The next time one of your favorite fighters wants to fight somebody in the PBC or wants to fight somebody else from a different promotional outfit, right? Because don't talk about people ducking them. Not when you see this type of situation going down. And then even if one of these guys did sign with Top Rank, that's still not going to guarantee the fight's going to actually happen. Because Bob Arum will say, will just change his mind and not make it happen. Because now you're signed, you got to take the fight. He'll find some other excuse not to do it. Anyway, so look, man, I don't want to hear anything about this Gervonta Davis versus Lomachenko. Mikey Garcia, why he didn't fight Lomachenko, and Deontay. Well, obviously not the Deontay Wilder thing, or the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford, because that's just what it is. This guy being Bob Arum is not out there looking out for the best interests of boxing fans. He's out there looking out for the best interests of Top Rank, and that means more mediocre fights. He'd rather have multiple mediocre fights than one really good one. And with that, I'm out. Peace.